So everyone should see my screen. And now in your Jamboards, you want to click the little arrows at the top. So your screen shows the same thing as me. As I'm going through the slides, just click through the next one. And then every so often during the presentation, we'll have an activity that you're going to write your answers on the Jamboard. And then we're going to discuss them together. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be learning about variables. And as Tomo was telling us, variables come from the word to change, and we'll see why that is in a little bit. But in its most simplest form, variables store information. So a variable is a container, like a box, and it holds a value. So right here, we've got a box, and the box is called my age, and the number is 12. And so that remembers it for you. So if you ever forget, you just look up what the value of my age is, and it'll say it's 12. And we have another one here that says my favorite number equals 7. And so the stuff in the blue box here is our code. So when we say my age equals 12, that creates a variable, it creates a little box, and it puts the value of 12 inside of it. So now it's your turn. So we have 3 variables on the screen here. We've got some code, and there's these boxes with question marks. So if you double click on the question mark, it'll have a pop-up and you can type in a number. So I'll put in my real age of 24, and now it shows it as the new value for the variable. So now it's your turn. I want everyone to open their Jamboards and put in 3 different values for these 3 variables.
はい。ということで、今、グレッグ先生が簡単に variable を説明してくれましたけど、variable っていうのは、さっきの2ページ目、Thank you, Greg に戻ると、variable っていうのは箱のようなもので、その中に入れるものが値という意味の value ですね。で、今、ここの右側の箱を見ると、箱自体に my age、私の年齢という名前がついてて、その中に12っていう数字が入っています。これをコードで表すと、左側のこの青いボックスのところに書いてあるように、my age equals 12。これがコードの中で使う variable の箱の作り方と箱の中に数字を入れるものです。はい。Alright, could you go to the next page? ということで、今度は皆さんにこの箱の中に何かを入れるという動作をしてもらうので、これから皆さんにこの左側の青いこのクエスチョンマークのところをクリックすると、テキストボックスが出てきますので、自分の最初は my age、私の年齢。次が my favorite number、私の好きな数字。で、3つ目が number of siblings。siblings っていうのは兄弟って意味なので、何人兄弟かという数字を入れてもらいます。はい。ということで皆さん、先ほどお配りしたジャムボードを開いて、この数字を自分のファイル上で書いてみてください。Alright, back to you, Greg.
So those who already finished and just waiting, thank you so much for your patience. And look at my box. This is powered by Amazon.
Oh, Jeff Bezos box.
Yes.
Powered by my company.
Oh, that's right.
It's a very big company.
Yes.
Huge company. And do you know where Amazon's headquarters is? 本社どこにあるか知ってる？ Amazon.
知ってる人いるかな？ Does anyone know where the Amazon headquarters is?
Have a good
I
guess.
have no idea how to open a site, but how can I do it?
Oh, so it looks like someone opened the file. Greg, can you explain again how to get to this file page and then edit the values again?
So at the top, you'll see arrows, and then you can click here to go left and right. And you want to click right until we see your turn variables. And then you'll have these boxes, and you can click twice on the box and then type in something. And then when you click save, it'll put the number in the box. Yeah, let's try moving on into the next topic, which is types of variables. So far we've seen numbers, but we can also have some of these other magic words we saw, which are string, Boolean, integer. So int is the same as integer, and that means a whole number. So like 5, 6, 7. We also have strings, which is text. So if I wanted to put my name, there's no number for that. So I put the text of Greg, and you put it in little quotes to say that it's text. And if you want to have something that's either true or false, then you can say it's a Boolean. So we saw in another lesson we had conditions with true and false, and so that would be a lot about Booleans. So now,
Alright.
with the different types of variable, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Itaco-san.
Alright. じゃあ、ここのページでは、いろんなタイプの variable について説明しています。さっきみんなに入れてもらったのは数字だけだったよね。自分の年齢だったり、好きな数字だったり。で、この variable というのは箱なので、中にいろんなものを入れることができます。数字だけじゃなくて、ここの2つ目を見ると、string って言って、string っていうのは、要は文字列、つまり文字です。みんながよく、こんにちはとか、私の名前は何々ですっていう文字列を入れるのに使うときに入れるvariable のタイプが string です。で、3つ目が、これは別の授業で、他の授業で学んだんですけども、boolean っていう、これはtrue か false っていう、正しいか間違いかとはちょっとまた違うけど、2つしか、入れる値がないタイプの、variable を boolean と言います。Alright?
Alright, so now it's your turn. We're going to do something similar to before, but now the variables are going to have different types. And so we want to make sure that the type of the variable matches what you typed in. So if we remember, a string means it's text, a boolean means yes or no, and an int is a number. So let's put some values in that match the right type. So we saw from before, my name, I'm going to put in Greg on the sticky note, and I click save, and we get Greg on the box. So now it's your turn. Put in the values that match you.
このページもさっきと同じように、このクエスチョンマークをダブルクリックして、最初は自分の名前、my name、自分の名前を入れてもらいます。2つ目は my favorite food、自分の好きな食べ物を入れてもらいます。3つ目のが boolean で live in Japan なので、3つ目は必ず true か false で答えてください。で、4つ目が int、数字のタイプなので number of pets といって、さっきと同じ数字を入れてください。はい、じゃあ皆さんどうぞ。
So I have a question, Greg. You put your name, Greg, with the quotation marks. Do we need it?
Yes, all strings need to have quotation marks to let the computer know that it's going to be a string.
Ooh.
Very important. I was actually coding with someone yesterday, and we were stuck on a bug for 20 minutes. And the bug was that we had a string that didn't have any quotes. It took us a long time to figure it out.
What should we do in the
ポンチョンが必要なんですね。
int number of pets?
So the number, if you have a pet, it could be 1 or 2, but maybe it's 0.
Oh, really? You have I thought it was have a turtle. My pet or something.
We're just looking for the number because the type is an int. So if you wanted to say I have a turtle, we can't use that using this type of variable, but we could do a different type.
Okay.
I have a hamster. I have a hamster, so I put the number 1.
Yep, that sounds correct to me.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So it says string my underbar favorite underbar food. Should we also add not quotes, the speech marks?
Yes, you should add the quotes for that. So
Okay.
for example, my favorite food, I'll say dumplings. This is what it would look like. I would put quote, and then I would write dumplings, and then I hit save. It's a little small, but we can make it bigger, so it would look like that, with quotes around dumplings.
I have a question too.
All right, so I'll just finish the last two and give my sample answers, and hopefully yours should be the same type. At least they might be different answers. So that is not correct. I don't live in Japan, so that's false. And the number of pets for me is 1. My family has a cat. Those would be my answers. Maybe you have 2, maybe you have 3, but you'd hope that they're the same type is the point of the exercise. So now let's look at changing, because that's what they're named after. Is the whole thing is that they can change. So here's a graph of someone who's selling muffins. And so on Monday, the value of muffins sold is 5, but then on Tuesday it goes up to 6, and then it goes down to 5, and then up to 8 and 10. So this variable, muffins sold, changes over time to match the reality of the situation. And what you can do is, if you ever want to know how many are on that day, you can look up the value of the variable. So we can see what this looks like in code. So we can imagine we're playing at an arcade and you're winning tickets. So if you want to keep track of how many tickets you have, it can start at 0, and we have our little box to store the value of 0 initially. And we'll see what we saw before. So we have int as the type, and then we have the name of the variable, and then equals a value. And now we have this little caret, this little triangle here that's going to show where we are in the program. So it goes over that and makes our box. And then we're going to say maybe it waits a minute as you play an arcade game. And then when you're done, you get to add more tickets. So we see tickets equals tickets plus 20. And what that means is you take the value you had before, you add 20, and then put it back in the variable. So before it was 0, and now we're going to add 20. So now the value of the variable has changed, just like the muffins before. So now this box stores the number 20. Now we can wait another minute, play another game, and this time we'll see plus 30. So we take the value we have here, 20, and we add 30 to get 50. And now the program is over. Final value is going to be 50. That's an example of how a variable can change as we do commands to it in a program.
Awesome. Could you go back one page? Alright.さっきは一つの数字をある変数、ある variable に入れてましたよね。でも実際のプログラムの中ではこの variable はどんどんいろんな違う数字だったりとか、いろんなものに変わっていきます。例えば、ここのグラフを見ると、muffins sold って書いてあって、売れたマフィンの数をグラフに表しています。で、muffins sold っていうのがこの場合の variable で、ここの中に入っている数字は、月曜日は5個入れました。火曜日は6個入れました。水曜日は5個入れました。って感じで、箱は muffins sold、売れた数のマフィンなんだけど、中に入っている数字は、その月曜とか火曜とか、どんどん時間が経っていくことに変わっていきます。Alright, next page, please. はい。で、実際にこれがプログラムの中でどうやって動いているかっていうと、これは例えば、どうしようかな、みんなにゲームセンターのコインを使うさ、ゲームセンターのゲームあるじゃないですか。あれをちょっと想像してほしいんだけど、最初はみんなコイン、0枚から始まっちゃダメだね。どうしよう。アメリカのゲームマシンは、ゲームに成功すると、ティケッツっていうこの紙のね、あれが出てくるんですよ。で、まあ商品みたいな、景品みたいなものなんだけれども、最初はそのチケットのナンバーが、数字が0です。でも、1分、10分とか、ゲームを遊んでいくごとに、そのチケットの数はどんどん増えていくよね。みんながもしゲームに成功して、景品が出てきたら、その景品の数は増えます。なので、プログラムが実行されるごとに、この右側のティケッツっていう箱の中に入っている数字が0から20。そしてその最後の、今矢印が向いているところは、tickets equals tickets plus 30。チケット、元々のチケットの数に30を足したものがチケットの最終的な答えになるので、この途中でプラスされた20と最後に足された30を足すと50ってことで、このね、コードだけ見ると50っていう数字は出てこないんだけれども、箱の中に入っている数字が何かなっていうのを最終的に見ると、これが50という数字になります。はい。Alright, thanks, Greg.
Alright. So now, that was a lot to process, but hopefully it made some sense. And we're going to do a similar example here, but we're going to have some different numbers, and it's going to be your turn to do it. So we're going to look at the program, and we're going to go through step by step, and we're going to keep track. So if you click on this 0 here, just like the other boxes, you can double click on it and update the type. So if after the first line we want to say add 40, you can type in 40 and click out. This can help you keep track as you're going through, or you can do it in your head, whichever is easier. You can just think about it in your head and run through the lines, or you can help use the value in the box to keep track as you're going through. Totally up to you.
Thanks,
We're going to try and figure out what the final value is once this is done running.
Sounds good. はい。じゃあ今度はさっきのプログラムを皆さんにやってもらおうと思います。最初にこの箱の tickets っていう箱の中に入れる数字は0で、2つ目でそれに足す40ってことに、という計算を行います。なのでこの箱の中に書いているこの0っていう数字を皆さんで手動で変えていってください。で、この2つ目の tickets equals tickets plus 40、3行目の tickets equals tickets minus 10っていう計算が終わった後に最終的に箱の中に残っている数字は何かなっていうのをこの final value のクエスチョンマークに、書いていってください。はい。どうぞ。
All right. And so when you think you have your final value, you can double click on the green box and type in a number. Awesome. We'll give everyone else a little bit of extra time.
Finished.
Yep, everyone's pretty fast on this one.
Cool. We like to see it.
今ね、いろいろ講義を受けていて、ちょっとわからないな、英語もあるし、なんて悩んでいるお友達大丈夫ですよ。ブレイクアウトルームの方でね、またちょっと復習もできるからね、心配しないで、できる限りで頑張ってみてください。I'm so proud of you guys. This is not an easy one to learn.
All right, so now that we've had some time to work it out, let's go through how we would do this. So when we start out, tickets is at 0. So that first line, what this does is it just creates this box for us. And then next we have tickets equals tickets plus 40. So we take 0 and add 40, and that's the new value of 40. And now we're going to do tickets minus 10, and that's the new value of tickets. So 40 minus 10 becomes 30, and then the final value would be 30 here. So for those of you who got the value of 30, congratulations. If you got something different, don't worry, as long as you understand now. That's the most important thing. So we're going to do a slightly different example. We're going to do another one where we're setting the value of a variable a couple times. And this time, we're going to use strings. And so before we had like a plus sign and we were adding and subtracting, you can also just set it to a value just directly without using the previous value. So give this one a try. We're going to start out with that variable outfit equals suit. And it's going to get changed a few times, and then we're going to look for what the final value is.
今度は、先ほどまではね、その前に箱の入ってた数字を使ってたけど、variable 自体は上書き、ね、完全に書き換えることもできます。なので、例えばこの例題をみんなに解いてほしいんだけれども、この箱の中に文字を入れたときに、outfit equals 何々ってやると、もう箱の中身がそっくりそのままそれに入れ替わります。なので、この3行の行動を実行して、最後に箱の中に残っているものは何でしょうかというのを皆さんで答えてください。はい、じゃあどうぞ。
なるほど。変数変わるっていう意味があるから、いろんなものになれるんですね。Variables can vary, huh? To many things. Not just number, not just words. It's always changing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so when we start out, we make a variable. It's called outfit, and the initial value is suit. And the next thing, we're going to see outfit equals jeans and shirt. So after we do this one, the new value here is jeans and shirt. Doesn't quite fit. We'll make it a little smaller. And now we're going to do the third line that does outfit equals dress. So then it changes it again. And now the program is done. So the final value is going to be dress. And it's a string, so we still keep it in quotes.
Woo! みんなできた?
Yes, I have done it.
You have done it.
Cool.
You're experienced.
これさ、
Utako-chan, do you want to talk through the answer?
Oh, yeah, sure, sorry, my bad. はい。ってことで、最初のコードを実行すると、アウトフィットという箱の中に、コーテーションマーク、これちょんちょん忘れないでね、スーツという、value が箱の中に入ります。なので、最初は suit です。で、2行目、second line の、コードを実行すると、この outfit という箱の中身をそっくりそのまま入れ替えて、jeans and shirt、ちょんちょん忘れずになります。はい。これは先ほどみたいに、チケットイコールチケットプラス20みたいに前の数字を使ってないので、もう箱の中身全部そっくりそのまま変える感じね。で、3行目、third line は、outfit を今度はドレスに変えるので、最終的に箱の中に入っているのはちょんちょんドレスになります。はい。
All right. So now let's move on to the last concept we want to talk about, which is that variables can interact with each other. So one variable can use the value of another one to pick its new value. So we're going to be talking about an allowance where your parents give you money every week to spend on things. So we start out with 300 yen as money, and we start out with a value of 100 as an allowance. So these first two lines just create these two variables here, and we're going to look at how much money we have once all this program is done. So this line represents maybe the first week. So we get money equals money plus allowance. So this is kind of like we had before where we were adding 20 or 30, but we're going to add the value of allowance. So right now we see that we have 300 money and 100 allowance. So when we run this line, money gets added 100. So now it's 400. And now we're done this line. And the next line is the same, but since the value of money is different, it's going to take on a different value afterwards. So again, we take the value of money and we add allowance. So now this goes to 500. And then we have one more time. Money increases by the value of allowance, which is 100. So it goes up again to 600. So we've gotten to the end of the program. We've seen that allowance hasn't actually changed. So the final value of allowance is still 100, as we can see in this box. And the value of money after the program is done is 600 because we added to it a couple times.
はい。じゃあ日本語で説明します。今度のプログラムはなんと variable が2つ出てきます。全部違う variable ね。最初の variable が money。これは300になってます。2つ目の variable が allowance。これはお小遣いって意味ですね。が100になってます。で、じゃあその3行目の money equals money plus allowance ということで、これ1週間とか1ヶ月のお小遣いだと考えてみてね。すると、money というボックスには money plus allowance なので300足す100ですね。最初の2つを入れると、最初の1行で、マニーという箱に300を入れて、2行目の箱、コードで100をアラウンスに入れます。で、じゃあ3行目で、マニー equals マニー plus アラウンスなので、その時に入ってた300と100を足して、箱の中身は400になります。次、fourth line 4行目いくと、マニー equals マニー plus アラウンスなので、その時にもともと箱に入ってた400と、アラウンスの中に入ってた100を入れて500。で、最後を入れると、最後のコードを実行すると600と100になります。そう。なので、なんかこのコードいろいろ変わってるようだけど、アラウンス、お小遣いに関しては全然変わってないんだよね。でも、このマニー、自分の本当に持ってるお金に関してはどんどん増えていって、最終的にはマニーの中に600。で、アラウンスの箱の中に100が入ってることになります。Alright, Greg, thanks.
Cool. So now we're going to look at a similar example. A little less code, but it's going to be your turn. So we're going to have two variables, and we're going to have one of the variables change, and it's going to use a value of another variable to decide what it changes by. So give this one a try. We're going to have slices of pizza. We're going to start with 8 slices of pizza, and we have a variable slices eaten that has a value of 3. So what is the value of each of these? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go finish it.
So what we're going to look for what the value of each of these variables is once the program is done.
Right. はい。じゃあ今度はさっきの2つ variable を使った問題をみんなに解いてもらおうと思います。今度はね、ピザを使った問題です。最初の slices equals 8っていうのは最初のピザの中に入ってるピザの1スライスの数ね。なので最初は8をスライスのボックスの中に、箱の中に入れて、slices eaten っていうのは、食べたスライスの数です。なのでこれを3にします。で、じゃあこの3行目、slices equals slices minus slices eaten というコードを実行すると、それぞれの箱の中の数字はどう変わるか、皆さんで計算して、このクエスチョンマークに書いてください。はい、じゃあどうぞ。
Alright, so just like before, we're going to imagine running through the program, and then we're going to type the value into the green boxes.
So, you know what? This will be actually the last exercise we do in this main screen because we also have more work to do in a breakout room. So this is the last exercise. So make it right, everybody. 今ね、ここのページのエクササイズが最後にこのメイン講義ね、グレッグさんの講義で一緒に行う内容の最後ページになります。 ですのでね、頑張って答えを書いてくださいね。この後ちょっと休憩を取りつつ、ブレイクアウトルームの方にまた移動していきますので、この今メインスクリーンのピッツァスライス、正しい答えを考えてみてください。
All right, so let's go through how this one would resolve. So we start out slices equals 8 and slices equals 3. And that's the values we have here. And then we're going to run this last line, slices equals slices minus the slices eaten. So we have 8 minus 3 is going to be 5 for the slices. And the slices eaten doesn't change, so that stays at 3. So for those of you who got those two values, good job getting that. And if you didn't, hopefully you now see how you would get those.
Well, thank you so much, Greg and Utako-san. How did you all learn about variables in the main class? みんなどうだったかな？グレッグさんの講義でちょっとね、変数について学んでいけたかと思います。この後、またブレイクアウトルームの方に分かれていって、ちょっとね、小さいグループで勉強していきましょう。Yes, so we really want to applaud Greg and Utako for wonderful lecture and